Good evening all, how are you? Patrea here. Today's the final day for Mental Health Week. So this week we've been looking at the model for well-being that looked at positive emotions, engagement, that's getting into the zone, doing things that really you get totally absorbed in, positive relationships, those people you're with that you spent time with and you feel really uplifted by. Meaning, things that you do in your life that have that great sense of meaning, that when you're doing them you feel like you're really contributing to something more than just for your own well-being. It contributes to something far greater than that. And doing things, achieving goals that give you that sense of accomplishment. The last couple of days we spoke about a couple of additional components for our well-being. Physical exercise and how important that is for our well-being, and our nutrition. And a third component that is a physical aspect to it that is fantastic for our well-being is sleep. Most of us really can't go without it. In fact, many years ago I read a book that looked at torture, which was not the most uplifting kind of reading, but it was quite fascinating. And one of the forms of torture that was widely used is actually sleep deprivation. They don't need to do much else to a person. They just need to deprive them of sleep. And so ask any mother of a newborn and they will probably tell you as well that sleep deprivation is a pretty challenging experience. Most of us at some point have probably experienced some period of time where we've experienced lack of sleep, and how challenging that can be for our mental clarity and also for our general sense of well-being. So prolonged lack of sleep is certainly not great for one's well-being. And so sleep serves a purpose, as do most of the functions that we have. They've evolved to serve a purpose, and sleep involves a process that helps our brain detoxify. So just like what we eat passes through and what's waste goes out, sleep serves a similar kind of process in terms of certain neurotoxins that build up in the brain. When we sleep and get adequate sleep, it's like the brain gets a little bit of a cleansing out. And that's a really important part. So one of the things that often people are challenged by is if they're having a bad night's sleep, that they feel quite restless and will often sometimes get up and do things or toss and turn. However, there has been some research that shows that we get those benefits, both of the cleansing of the neurotoxin build-up and also the well-being aspects to just that rejuvenation that we get if we consider sleep or rest. So long as we are getting rest and a restful rest, we'll be getting those benefits. But often people get distressed because they're not sleeping and they start worrying about not getting sleep. But so long as we can actually view our rest time, then we're probably going to get, or view it as rest, then we can probably shift how we experience our night. So that can be certainly a very helpful thing, is just knowing that so long as we are resting and restful during the evening, we'll get a lot of the same benefits, which is fantastic. Obviously, to get a good night's sleep, there's a few things that we can do that would really boost our ability to sleep well. Obviously, not having caffeine too close to going to bed, because caffeine has a 5 to 6 hour half-life. So that means if you have a coffee or strong tea somewhere around 4 o'clock, at around 10 o'clock at night, 50% of that caffeine is still buzzing around in your system. So that, for a lot of people, can definitely affect their sleep. I'm not a caffeine drinker, so that's something that I don't certainly have to deal with. Alcohol can certainly also have an effect on the quality of people's sleep. Certain medications can certainly affect people's quality of sleep, even if people are taking medication like Valium or so. A lot of people say they wake up rather groggy. It's like they've been asleep, but it's not quality sleep. So certain medications can certainly affect our ability to sleep well. Exercise too close to going to bed, that can certainly rev up our metabolism and therefore keep us up when perhaps we want to be winding down for the evening. And so certain types of food as well are certainly not going to be great for that. So if we're wanting to boost our quality of our sleep, there are a number of factors that would be well worth taking into account. One of them is a mobile device. There's certain things about mobile phones and other devices that sort of stimulate the brain in a way to thinking it's daytime. And obviously that is not what you want when you're wanting to wind down and head to bed. So being off a device leading into that bedtime, some of the research says as much as by 2 hours before bed. So from my perspective tonight, that's not quite going to be great. So, but nonetheless, that would be a good thing to keep in mind as well. And so one of the key things to think about is that in order to have a good day, it starts the night before. So what can you do to improve your well-being by planning the night before about getting to bed earlier, and to being able to wake up feeling refreshed and set yourself on the path for having a great day. So wishing you all a great night's sleep. Okay, good night.